Hey, this is Casey, and in my opinion, if you have cake, but there's no icing on the cake, what good is the cake? I mean, if you don't have some icing on there, you can take all the time you want baking a good cake. It really isn't going to matter. Okay. And it's very similar when you write book marketing copy. You can write a pretty good first draft, second draft, even a third draft, but you need to put the icing on the cake. And in book marketing copy, putting the icing on the cake means going through some steps to really refine and polish your book marketing copy so that it has a professional shine and professional edge to it. And today, I'm going to give you a few tips on how you can do that. To do that, we're going to go over to my example board here. So I'm going to share my screen. And here we are. And we're going to call this video How to Polish and Refine Your Copy. And this is a glimpse into my upcoming program, Bestseller Book Marketing Copy. In that program, which is an on-demand online program, I've got a bonus module on how to really polish up your copy. So I'm going to give you a little teaser, a little taste of what's in that bonus training today by going over a few steps you can take to really refine and give your copy that edge it needs to stand out in a crowded market. So tip number one, and this doesn't really sound like a polishing tip, but it is because it's an important mindset thing. Don't get freaked out by writer's block. Just know that it doesn't exist. So when you've written some basic copy and you're really trying to kind of dial in your copy and you think, oh, I can't figure anything, or even before your first draft, know that writer's block doesn't exist. And here's what I mean by that is that, writer's block would mean that you can't think of anything to write. But really what writer's block is, it's a fear of writing crappy copy. So with your first and second draft of your marketing copy for your book, go ahead and if you don't have anything great, allow yourself to write some really rough around the edges copy, maybe copy that's not so great, because you can always polish and refine it. Okay, so don't get hung up on this thing that my first draft has to be really great, or even my second draft. I write a lot of first drafts that aren't that great, but I'm very confident in my ability to go through my copy and polish and refine it. Okay, tip number two here. As you're going through and looking at your draft and you want to give it a nice polish, you really want to shine it up, make sure that your copy is conversational. Be authentically you when you write your copy. You want to make sure, check your copy to make sure it's written through a voice that sounds like you or your book. And write your copy, it wants to make sure it's conversational, like you're actually having a conversation with a potential book buyer. Maybe you're just hanging out in a coffee shop talking about your book. So make sure your copy has that conversational voice, and make sure it has a voice that matches you or your book. So typically, that voice might be witty. If you've written a book that's kind of witty, make sure your book marketing copy has a witty tone to it. If you've written a book that's very authoritative or nurturing or compassionate, make sure your book marketing copy has a voice that corresponds with the tone of your book. If your book has a real edge to it. Once I wrote marketing copy for a self-development book once for an author who was a recovering mafioso, we'll just say, and he was writing a self-development book for guys who wanted to get out of that particular line of work. And his marketing copy had a very rough edge to it, but it really fit his audience. So make sure that your voice has a distinct, make sure the copy for your book, the marketing copy, has a very distinct voice to it. And this is something you can really refine as you're polishing your copy. Again, this kind of puts the icing on the cake for you. Okay, quick break, and I'll give you a couple more tips. I want to tell you how, in addition to these videos, you can get more free stuff from me. I love giving you goodies that are going to help you write really good book marketing copy. Go to caseydemchek.com/secrets. You can download my free ebook, 7 Must-Know Copywriting Secrets That Sell More Books. It's about 18 pages long. So load it up with a lot of copywriting tips. They're going to help you write book marketing copy that really engages potential book buyers, and it's going to help you sell more books and build your fan base. I've also got a link to this page down below in the description of this video, so click that. It's going to take you to this page where you can download this free ebook. If you don't have it, you want to get your hands on it. Okay, another way that you can polish up your copy is to make sure your benefit-driven bullet points are active. Make sure they flow smoothly. This is a little example from a book by Martin Liefeld called 5 Minutes for Fundraising. And what you always want to do when you have benefit-driven bullet points is Make sure they flow smoothly from the lead-in sentence. You always want to have a little lead-in sentence, like right here. You'll learn perspectives that make it considerably easier for you to work with difficult, demanding donors. Manage situations where you hear the word no. Draw from a well-proven form of proven fundraising success strategies. Create a memorable impact on those organizations, on those your organization serves, okay? But each of these bullet points flows smoothly from this lead-in sentence. Another thing, each of these bullet points, they're very tight and concise. They stress a benefit. They start with an action word, but we don't start them with the same action word like create. We use different action words. We make them short and concise so they're quick and easy to read. And I'll give you another cool tip when you set up bullet points like this, when you're refining your copy. If in your mind you've ranked your bullet points, like the first one's the most important, the second one's the second most important, third one's the third most important. Here's what you want to do. Your most important bullet point, put it first. Your second most important bullet point, put it last. Okay, don't put it second, put it last. That's because when people skim copy, marketing copy, when it comes to bullet points, their eyes tend to catch the first one and the last one. So if you have two bullet points that you think are your most important, put them first and last, not first and second. Again, this is just another way you can give your copy that polish it needs, that icing on the cake treatment. Lastly, you want to read your copy out loud. This is super important. Check for cliches and repetitive descriptors. If you find yourself using terms like cut above the rest, second to none, or take your whatever to the next level, those are cliches that we hear over and over and over again. So to put icing on the cake, kind of get rid of those and provide a little more actual detail. So instead of using cliches, use some language that sounds more believable and really means something. Another thing, if you read your copy out loud, you're going to hear if you're using descriptive words over and over again. Like if you're describing something as being dynamic or innovative or cutting edge. Sometimes when you write your first or second or even third draft, you may fall in love with a descriptive word, and you may not really even realize that you're using it over and over again. But when you read your copy out loud, if you're repeating descriptors or using cliches, you will hear yourself saying them. And you go, oh man, I keep repeating the same word over and over again. And that'll spur you to go in and further refine your copy by choosing new descriptive words, cutting out cliches and generalities, and adding some specific detail into your copy. So those are 4 big tips. I think they're really going to help you polish your copy, kind of put the icing on the cake of your marketing copy. And then lastly, just remember that good writing is rewriting, great writing is rewriting some more. So when I write marketing copy, I don't think in terms of first draft, second draft, third draft, polish, and I'm done. Sometimes I do multiple drafts, much more than that, where I just go through it many times, read it out loud, do what it takes to give it that edge, that polish it needs to really stand out. And this kind of ties back into that first tip about forget about writer's block, it doesn't exist. Your first or second draft, allow your copy to be rough around the edges. So just get your thoughts, get it down on paper, and then you can start mushing with it and playing with it and revising it. And, just keep writing it and revising until you've nailed it. Read that copy out loud. And when it's really done and ready to go, you're going to hear it when you read it out loud. So I hope these tips have been helpful for you today. I hope they're going to help you put the icing on the cake of your marketing copy so that it stands out as much as it can and really does justice for your book and really stresses a lot of benefits for your readers so that you'll engage more book buyers and build new fans. Now, I've got other videos here on my YouTube channel for you to check out, just so have a look at those, kind of binge on all the tips I've put in there for you, soak up all the information, and then take a lot of action and make things happen.